Shalom, Yasharallah. This your brother Dawadah, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise unto YAHAWAH, BAHASHIM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHIM, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Aki, and pushing this truth and sincerity in the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here lesson, which was inspired by this here article, which, hey, it's a beautiful sign, man. The Most High is putting in this here work on these Edomites, man. All right, so this here article is from RT. It says, shocking. Life expectancy in England flatlines for the first time in 100 years, and Tory government austerity is major factor. All right, it says life expectancy in England has stalled for the first time in a century, with conservative governments cuts part of their austerity agenda over the last 10 years. You know, basically, put this into Jake's terms, you taking austerity measures, basically saying like, oh, you kind of broke, or you just happen to go broke, so now you have to so-called budget a little better, So let's just say hypothetically, as a Jake, you know what I'm saying, you balling, you can go out to eat every night of the week, nice restaurants, you know what I'm saying, you can go fill up your car with premium gas and leave that bitch running all day or whatever, whatnot, go to the mall, go buy a bunch of Jordans or whatever, whatnot, you can normally go do all of these things, but now all of a sudden things got a little tight. So now you have to take so-called austerity measures, right? So now you stop going out to eat every night, right? Now you just start meal prepping, all right? Now, you don't let your car run all damn day, or you go and get a, let's say you drive a V8, now you go get a 4-cylinder, or hell, you start Ubering, not Ubering like as you driving, you just go, you order an Uber to get around, so you don't have to pay for car insurance, your car, gas, and all that extra stuff, you just order up you an Uber now. So you're taking so-called austerity measures, to, you know what I'm saying, basically budget a little bit better so you don't wind up going completely broke, basically because your pockets are tight, But they're basically saying, these Edomites, overall, especially with the earth giving into the hand of these Edomites, how the hell are they going broke? But this is really the greed of these elites, because really it's really smaller than the 1%. It's like the 0.1%. All right, they have, I believe, 70 or 80% of the world's wealth. All right. But nevertheless, and this is a small group of people, which they pretty much are all Edomites. All right, they have the majority of the wealth on the planet Earth. All right. So it says the review headed by Professor Michael Marmot, director of University College London's Institute of Health Equity, says UK government has failed to improve the life chances of its citizens. Marmot himself warned a decade ago that ever-increasing inequalities would badly impact health. Now, we can go back into the book of Genesis, dealing with the prophecies concerning Jacob and Esau, that one was going to be stronger than the other one. All right, so now they're talking about them going into poverty, all right, or really not even poverty. Like, they taking austerity measures, which, again, this is a step before poverty. Again, you live in a lavish lifestyle. Now you have to be a conservative, all right? You have to downgrade from the mansion, all right, to a 2-story house with a 2-car garage, all right? You're not necessarily poor, all right, at this point in time, but now you starting to, budget a little bit better because you see your money is dwindling, all right? There's no real hope for you, So it says the damning review concluded that austerity highly likely responsible for the life expectancy flatlining across England and for the widespread and health inequalities. Going back to what I was trying to mention over in the book of Genesis, one people going to be stronger than the other one, all right? So we've always been in poverty the whole time we came over here. The whole system was set up, first of all, for the tribe of Judah, like the southern kingdom, right? They had us over here, well, really the northern kingdom as well too, all right? They had them over here first, but they had us over here, really all Israel. But, with the slave trade and things like that, they was making money off of the slave trade. Then they was actually making money, free money off of, having the slaves, They had, what was it, like 200-something years of basically free labor, where they was making income, all right? And I always give this example when stating this. Just imagine if one Walmart location, just one, not all the Walmarts, but just one Walmart location had a situation where they didn't have to pay no bills, no overhead, let's just say for 1 hour, They didn't have to pay all their employees that they had for 1 hour, Think about how much money they would be profiting, all right? Just now imagine, that same one Walmart not paying, overhead like their employees, the lights, the rent, electricity, water, and all these other things, insurance. All right, if they didn't have to pay all these things for 24 hours. Again, this is just one location. Think about how much money they will wind up making. All right, now, cut that across all the Walmarts that you can think about, or all the McDonald's. You know, if they don't have to pay their employees, the overhead, lights, water, rent, whatever, whatnot, if they don't have to pay any of those things, think about how much they're profiting, man. These are already like billion-dollar companies, but how much more, how much you think, you know, the majority of the time with certain things, like when dealing with income, all right, for the most part, you know, what you bringing back in, you know, is a small percentage of what you actually putting out. Like, say, for instance, an investment, right? You know, they talk about ROI, return on investment. Now, you may invest, let's just say, $100 into something, and you may make like 1% back, or 10. Let's just say you make 10% back. Well, you paid out $100 just to make $10, right? So when you're looking at these people's, like, let's say Walmart, they made, let's just say, $100 million. Well, how much money did they spend to make that $100 million? You see what I'm saying? So if they didn't have to spend that, think about how much money they would really be at. All right. So dealing with that, they got this huge head start against us. All right. So lucky if the rain is a little loud, it's raining outside, but you know, they had this long head start against us with making this here free income. All right. They had all this here. Really, that's what you call an income. All right. By definition, you as Americans shouldn't even be like, you shouldn't even, well, majority of you Jakes should not even be having to pay an income tax, because you don't make income. You get paid wages. All right. Income is basically you getting money just coming in. You ain't really have to do nothing. You didn't have to get up and go to work. You know, you're getting paid for your you know, your wages. How much are we gonna have to pay you to do the job that we want to do? All right. But nevertheless, if you just, let's just say hypothetically, you know, shit. In Atlanta, they got this thing that they do when it's like your birthday. They pin like $1, you know, you before you go to work, you pin like a dollar bill to your shirt. You know, people automatically know it's your birthday. So, you know, everybody you normally come across, they'll give you $1 to pin onto your shirt, right? So at the end of the day, you know, which you can make a lot of money with that, you know, but you know, you might make $100-200, right? That would basically be an income, because you didn't do anything for that. You didn't have to work for that money. You just basically got it in. All right. But now if you have to go to work and work 8 hours in a day, you trading off your labor for these here wages. But nevertheless, you know, dealing with these different things economically, these Edomites have so much of a head start. Plus they have money that's just piling up with interest and investments and so on and so forth. But now, again, as they starting to see these things start to dwindle, but they can't even survive now. All right. Jake been living paycheck to paycheck, if even that, you know. Food stamps, Section 8, governmental assistance, raviolis, you know, sleeping in trap houses, you know what I'm saying, staying on the homeboy's couch, going from couch to couch to couch. We've been doing this for the longest time, man, and we've still been making it. All right, but these people, you know what I'm saying, they got to get out of the damn 100-room mansion and move down to like you know, a big-ass 10-bedroom house. You know what I'm saying? Now they all, you know, ready to jump off the damn bridge because of that, you know? So it says, it says to put blame squarely at the feet of Tories who embarks on wide-scale cuts to public services when they entered into a coalition government with the liberal Democrats in 2010. Obstinately, the report notes, austerity has taken a toll on the nation. Rising child poverty, the closure of children's center. All right. Think about this, man. Look at Jake and Jake neighborhoods, man. You know what I'm saying? Jake parents don't normally have enough money, maybe nowadays with certain governmental assistance, but you know, I know when I was growing up, we wasn't really going to I had one cousin who parents had enough money to basically send him to like a daycare. All right, but me and the rest of my cousins, all right, we was all at auntie's house at the daycare there. All right, we all was basically piled over at the one aunt's house, and that was our daycare. We was getting watched by homegirl. You know what I'm saying? Or we would be at our grandmama's house, or they would just rotate it off. You know, she work at night, and while, you know, our parents are working in the daytime, she watching everybody kids. And then she swap out and she go to work at night. You know what I'm saying? That's how we was, because we couldn't really afford, you know, this here daycare, you know. But nevertheless, they blaming all these things of why they, you know, their life expectancy is dropping off or whatever, whatnot. But you see Jake be living, you know, relatively longer age. You know, you got, you know, Jake that'll get to like be grandparents' ages or older elderly people, obviously. But, you know, they'll tell you, oh, back in my days or whatever, whatnot. You know, I remember my grandma telling me a story about when she was younger, trying to feed her four kids. Basically, you know, how the clerk at the grocery store had to turn her away because she was like, it was like 30 cents short on her bill. You know what I'm saying? On her groceries, you know, her bill came up to like $2 or $3. You know, she was trying to get something cheap, some pasta and some sauce to feed her kids. But, you know, she was like 30 cents short. And Esau was like, nah, man, if I got to do it for you, I got to do it for everybody else, you know? And what? My grandma just had to go home and make do with whatever she had. You know, she had to make something happen, make something work, man. You know, and I remember growing up over at my grandma's house. You know, now that I look back, you know, and our parents did a damn good job. Not just my parents personally, but a lot of Jake parents, you know, do a real good job, but not letting their kids know that they poor, man. It's not till you really get older that you realize that you grew up poor, man. You realize that you grew up in the projects and fucked up, inhumane environments, man. All right, living in these project buildings and piss all in the hallway, elevators and shit ain't working or whatever, whatnot. Everything's just all bad. And ain't no security. The police is always out there. Somebody always getting shot out there, whatever, whatnot. You know, drugs all here and there. You know, these places are harmful environments, but yet still our children still go to school. You know what I'm saying? They still thrive. They still become, you know, something in this here world, man. All right, not all of our children grow up to be monsters or whatever, whatnot. Especially like in the time period where I was growing up, you didn't have. I mean, it was still going on. You know, you had a lot of single parent households, but it wasn't to the point now. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was growing up, our mamas wasn't trying to twerk with their daughters and shit. You know what I'm saying? But nowadays, you know, that's what you got going on. But nevertheless, you know, hey, we was making it through. But like the scriptures say, one nation shall be stronger than the other, or one people shall be stronger than the other people. And it's clear that Jacob is definitely stronger on all levels, physically, mentally, and spiritually, over Esau, man. All right. So it says, rising child poverty. Yeah, like I said, a lot of Jake children grew up poor as hell, man. How many Jake children can you find the same story? It's like, man, since I was like a small teenager, 13 or 14, man, I've been raising myself for shit. My mama was a crackhead growing up anyway. My daddy wasn't around, so I was running the streets since I was 9, you know. I had to go do this and go do that since I was a little kid, you know. And Edomites hear these stories like, bruh, ain't no way no little 9-year-old kid gonna be running around the city taking care of his damn self. Like, well, why don't you go to these Jake neighborhoods where Jake live? And you'll see the parents all strung out or whatever, whatnot, you know what I'm saying? And things going on where the kid, you know what I'm saying, is going out, you know what I'm saying, going to school or whatever, whatnot, on their own, you know what I'm saying, dressing themselves on their own, you know, or whatever, whatnot, you know, because the parents just, hey, they ain't got it, you know, or just different situations, but yet we still thrive, man. We still, hey, we just keep it moving, man. Like I said, a lot of us didn't even know that we was poor like that, man. You know what I'm saying? I remember growing up and not, you know, the crib we was living in didn't have no AC or no heat, you know, and in Atlanta it's snow and shit like that. So waking up cold as fuck in the morning, standing by the damn stove and shit like that, trying to stay warm. You know what I'm saying? We ain't know no difference. Like, just how we supposed to warm up, you know, or whatever, whatnot, you know. But it says, rising child poverty, the closure of children's centers. Hey, a lot of our kids don't have, you know, the parents don't have enough money to send a lot of our kids to the so-called YMCA, all right, or the Boys and Girls Club or whatever, whatnot, you know. Or, hey, you might have to bootleg it or whatever, whatnot. You know, you might sign up 2 kids and then you just constantly be swapping out other kids, you know, the cousin here, there, whatever, whatnot, giving them a little pass to go into the Boys and Girls Club, you know. So you get some kind of after-school daycare for your kids for a couple hours while you're still at work, man. All right. Hey, and when you think about it, a lot of, you know, let's just say Jake's parents was still together, you know, for the time being. I remember when my parents were still together, man. I still wasn't at my, you know, under supervision of my parents because why? My dad worked 3 jobs, my mom worked 2 jobs. So they was always at work anyway. All right, but with these Edomites, predominantly the mamas don't ever really work because the dad is making a 6-figure income, all right, and you know, getting big bonuses throughout the year anyway. So they just got this money to spend. They got the nanny at the house and everything else like that, you know. So they just chilling anyway, you know. But it says, hey, why don't they just go out there and go get a job, man? You tired of being broke? Go get a job, man. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, man. Go make something happen, man. You know, y'all always be knocking Jake for selling drugs and doing this and doing that, got these scams. But, hey, Jake got to do what they got to do to survive, man. Before he go out there and start begging y'all, these Edomites, for some money and have people have sympathy for us, we'll try to, hey, we'll turn some damn dirt into some diamonds out here and be making motherfuckers go out there and pay top dollar for it, man. All right? But it continuing on, it says, increase work, insecurity, and 0-hour contracts, you know? So, like I was just going into, man, a majority of our parents work 2 and 3 jobs, man. Then you have, like, scenarios where, again, the father wasn't in the household, so the mom is still out here working 2 and 3 different jobs, man. You know what I'm saying? I remember growing up, for the majority of my life growing up, my mom always had multiple jobs, man. Always was at work. We very rarely saw her ass, man. All right? So it says, along with the housing crisis contributing to the rise in homelessness, have all created conditions for people's life changes to stall. Again, man, Jake was always living with somebody else, or always doing this and doing that, but hey, we was still thriving, man. All right, the one thing that was killing us off was what? You know, either drugs, gun violence, gang violence, police, or bad health choices, man. All right, you know, because we was eating pork chops and shit like that, things that we weren't supposed to be putting in our body to begin with. Marmot says that the poverty has a grip on a nation's health, adding that the government's focus on individual behaviors is not effective. The review also revealed that England has seen a reverse in life expectancy for the poorest 10% of women in the northeast, as well as the Yorkshire and the Humber regions. All right. Again, none of these are real excuses for the conditions that you in, man. All right, because Jake was still the same condition, but what did y'all do? You know, you told us to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps or whatever, whatnot. And in fact, you actually did give us programs, all right, but like the scripture said, gift destroyed the heart, man. You gave us Section 8 of food stamps, but that just, you know, created these so-called welfare queens and in that endless cycle, man. All right, but, you know, leave it to Jake out there. Once Jake really get into a rock and a hard spot, Jake will be like, you know what, fuck that. I got to make something happen. And Jake will go out there and make something happen, man. All right, like back in the days before we was getting a lot of these assistances, again, back then, you know, it wasn't nothing to see a woman working 2 and 3 jobs. She did that with no question. She was somewhat proud about that. Hey, I got me another little gig or whatever, whatnot. You know, I work over here at the factory, you know, at nighttime. Then in the daytime, I got a part-time job at the gas station. And I got another part-time job over here at the mall somewhere. And then I do a little hair on the side. Then I babysit on the weekends or whatever, whatnot, you know. So Jake will find some shit to do, man. All right, and worst come to worst, especially with these women of our nations, man, especially back in the days. I can't tell you much of that is really going on now. But again, when I was growing up, man, you know, a lot of our women, you know, they would fall back on things they knew from, you know, just being a little child, man, doing hair. You know, as little kids, little girls always be doing each other hair or whatever, whatnot, getting their hair done. They would be doing each other hair, man. And in damn near every hood, every ghetto, man, there's always somebody grandmama or somebody auntie or somebody big mama that's the goddamn candy lady on the block, man. And she pulling in more money than adult boys, man. And I don't even know if they still got candy ladies no more, but shit, I remember growing up, you know what I'm saying? I remember I had a cousin, like, you know, she was old enough to be like my aunt, you know what I'm saying? My parents, my dad's first cousin, she used to be the candy lady. And that was her full-time job, was just the candy lady. And she was holding it down with that shit because she had all the little kids from down the block every day, all day, running down there with their little dollars and stacking up money. So, you know what I'm saying? So she was smart enough to know, all right, look, I can go get this here $10. Go buy me a box of ice creams or whatever, whatnot. There's 15 ice creams in there. I can sell them all for $1. Let's just say $1, just simple math. Sell them all for $1. Now it made me $5 profit. And I keep doing this. I'm turning me some money, man. All right, Jacob makes something out of nothing. But look at these Edomites, man. All right, you know, one nation gonna be stronger than the other one, man. These Edomites out here crying for this downturn of their economics, which all these things are the things they created. All right, who they gonna blame? They gonna blame Jake for this? Oh, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans that fucked up the economics here in America or whatever. And I'm like, no, we didn't fuck it up, man. First of all, let's talk about America's economics. First of all, America's economics is fucked up because they print their own money. You know, well, how do you put it? Because the American government, all right, was able to actually print money, you know, based off of a certain reserve, but they took that away, and now you have what they call like a central bank, all right, the Federal Reserve, which is a private company, all right, you know what I'm saying? Like, as if I had a company I came up with called Federal Shoes or Federal Shirts, don't mean I'm a part of the government. That's just part of the name, you know, the Federale Boys or the Federal Boys or whatever. That don't mean I'm, you know what I'm saying, actual, you know, working for the federal government. No, it just means that that's just the name I put on it. Just like Bank of America, all right? You know, you come from another country to America for the first time, you roll across a Bank of America, you know, you might think, oh, is that where all these Americans bank at this one bank? That's, you know, that's, y'all just got one centralized bank. No, man, that's just the name of the bank. That bank ain't got shit to do with the American government. That's a privately owned bank. You know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, it's, you know, probably got stockholders or whatever, whatnot, but it's not owned by the U.S. government, you know? But nevertheless, you know, this is what's these trends that's actually or these curses that's trending amongst Esau, which that's actually we're gonna start at the book of Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 7. All right, we're gonna pull out a couple different scriptures real quick, and we're gonna close it out. This is Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 7. And Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thy enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. And so I was making a comparison earlier about how Jake was going through all these things and what we had to keep pushing through it, man. You know what I'm saying? We had to make something happen, you know, one way or another, you know. But nevertheless, now these curses are being lifted up off of Jake. You know, that's why we was in the conditions we was in, all right, for breaking the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High. And now the recompense for breaking those laws was these here curses falling upon us. But now the Lord is taking the curses up off of us and putting them on our enemies, as we just read, which, you know, the chief of our enemies is Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, all right? So now we're going to go and we're going to look at some of these curses real quick, all right? This is Deuteronomy 28, verse... We'll start at verse 16. It says, cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body, the fruit of thy land, and the fruit of thy land, and the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. All right. And cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and when cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out. You know, the last verse dealing with, you know, like with Jake coming to this here world, man. You know, you have a Israelite woman, you know, you have an Israelite couple, man and a woman, right? The Israelite woman wound up getting pregnant, right? Now they looking at each other like, damn, this is another bill. We can't even afford to have this here baby or whatever, whatnot, man. Now we got to go get this. We got to go get that or whatever, whatnot. We need the government assistance to help us raise this child, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, whatnot, because we ain't got it like that, you know? So we already cursed coming into this here place, man. And then let somebody unexpectedly die in the family, man. We don't really have no life insurance policies or anything like that to wind up covering these here charges, you know, these you know, the cost of burying somebody, you know. But nevertheless, you know, hey, that's why, you know, I make the statement of, you know, when Jake have children, the only thing that they can pass down is death and destruction, a death and destructive lifestyle and things like that. Because what do our parents teach us? You know, we was raised up eating pork chops and unhealthy ass foods and raviolis and ramen noodles and things like that, McDonald's all the time. That was what our parents taught us. Hey, we thought we were supposed to eat that, chitlins and shit like that. That's soul food. That's black people food, right? Then they give us badass advice. You know, go to school, get a good job, save your money up. Like, ain't nobody else on the planet Earth doing that. They all investing their money and doing whatever, whatnot. But you got me, you know, as soon as we get 18, you kick us out the house with no real training. You know, we don't really, as Jake, we don't really raise our children, man. We you know, as men, we impregnate these women. You know, and nowadays you got these independent women or whatever, whatnot. They give birth to these children. All right, then they sit the children in front of the TV and let them get raised by the streets, man. All right, they're like, oh, I had to raise you, whatever, whatnot. Like, what did you teach your child, man? And the fact that you over here screaming at your child all the damn time and whatever, whatnot, shows that you didn't raise them the right way, obviously. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, you know, these are the things that you know, that Jake is normally under the conditions with, you know, when having children, man. We always, you know, it's not really a joyous thing to find out, you know, for a man to find out that his old lady is pregnant. Oh shit, man, how are we gonna pay for this? How are we gonna pay for that? And doctor bills, Pampers, and so on and so forth, man. All right, but nevertheless, the rest of these, verse 16 through 18, cursed shall thou be in the city, cursed shall thou be in the field, cursed shall be thy basket and thy store, cursed shall be the fruit of thy body and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kind and the flock of thy sheep. You know, especially going back into those days, you know, dealing with livestock and what do they call it? We used to live in an agrarian society, basically dealing with what do you call it? Farming, and there's another name for it though. Farming and livestock, but there's another name for agriculture. All right, but nevertheless, dealing with, you know, we used to deal like that. So if you have a farm and then your farmland is tainted, guess what? You're not gonna be getting no income because you can't plant and reap and then sell your goods, man. Same with your animals or whatever. Now, let's say you raising up cows and you want to, you know, selling the cows for your income, but now your cows are all, you know, sick or dying off, or, you know, maybe they got a disease or something, right? Same way with these Edomites. You know, instead of, you know, them farming for their income, you know, they got regular jobs nowadays, but guess what? Their businesses are shutting down. You know, there's trade deals or whatever, whatnot. You know, cost of living is going up, and you know, higher taxes and higher this and higher that. But guess what? Their income has not gone up yet. You know, so now they're starting to look around and they're like, oh shit, man, things are starting to tighten up around us, man. All right, but hey, Jake been going through this all the damn time, man. Once a year, that rent go up or whatever, whatnot. We was already living paycheck to paycheck, and we like, I don't know how I'm gonna wind up doing this, man. But Jake happened to finesse it one way or another. All right. Let me jump down to verse let me go up a little bit. Or I'll just read verse 33. Deuteronomy 28 and 33. The fruit of thy land, so these are the curses. The fruit of thy land and all thy labor shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always. So that was like, you know, when Jake was over here, you know, we was out here planting and plowing the fields and slavery, picking cotton and so on and so forth, you know, spinning cotton. But guess what? We didn't get to how you say, benefit or get any kind of increase off of that. We wasn't getting no kind of wages. We wasn't getting paid for none of that, man. No matter how much cotton we wound up picking, all right, we wasn't getting no more money off of that. We wasn't really getting paid off of that, you know. But nevertheless, you know, And, you know, some people are like, well, they had housing and they had foods. I'm like, come on, man. If you take anybody in captivity, all right, into slavery, and you're going to use them slaves for a purpose, obviously you got to keep it maintained for, you know, some kind, you know, to be able to get what you need up out of that, you know, that slave or whatever. Now, you can't just get a slave and starve his ass to death, you know, and you want him to actually go out there and work for you. Then obviously, you know, once he dies, then you got to go get another slave, man. Then he going to work him to death because he just starved out or whatever. Man, you'd be better off just feeding this here slave. You constantly get him to go to work. But nevertheless, it says the fruit of thy land shall, and all thy labor shall nation which thou knowest not eat up. Going into, you know, a lot of these, you know, especially over in Europe when they had the invasion of like the Middle East, you had a lot of these uh, Arabs basically going over there into Europe and things like that. Now they actually trying to so-called use these social programs to kind of take care of them. But not just that, man. They was already kind of broke over there. That's why Trump was banging on them to try to increase their NATO spending. But nevertheless, ultimately, it's the Most High to bring these curses down on Esau Edom because the earth is given into his hands. But how is he going broke? If he going broke, how's everybody else doing financially? Because he's at the top of the totem pole, man. You know, and Jake don't even really register when it comes to economics. So how's everybody else in between really doing if the top of the head of this whole thing is actually, you know, how do I say, going broke and wind up dying off, man? All right, it's not going to be looking well for the rest of these people, man. All right, so I'm going to go from there to the book of Isaiah. It's Isaiah 14 and verse 11. Or I actually start at verse 10. Isaiah 14 and 10. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? You know, ultimately going into what? A lot of these nations dealing with the military, you know, their military equipment and so on and so forth. They had like, yo, man, we got... Oh, are you serious? Now they looking at these other nations. Hopefully I don't get no strike for that. But now these other nations like Iran and so on and so forth, you know, they're getting this weaponry from Russia or whatever, whatnot. Now they're looking at America like, bro, we're not scared of y'all no more, man. You know, we got this S-400 over here or this S-300 over here. Y'all can fly y'all plane over here if y'all want to and see what happened, you know. But nevertheless, ultimately, you know, from Jake's perspective, looking at these Edomites, now you're looking at them now, it's like, damn, now y'all niggas is broke. Y'all niggas is on food stamps now. Y'all niggas over here doing X, Y, and Z or whatever, whatnot, you know what I'm saying? Like, why y'all in that? You know what I'm saying? Y'all supposed to be on the ups right now, you know? But this is what you start to see. The curses now are starting to fall upon Esau, Edom. All right? This is Isaiah 14 and 11. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave. The noise of thy vows, the worm is spread under thee. The worm covereth thee. All right? So, well, let me read the next one just, you know, for a little bit of context. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weakest to nations? So, you know, this is dealing with, you know, basically the enlightened ones or the Illuminati, you know, the elites of these Edomites. All right. But ultimately looking at all these damn Edomites as a whole, like, yo, and, you know, talking, you know, Lucifer dealing with the elites, the enlightened ones or whatever, what. And I don't, you know, stumble over that. But this is how thou fallen from heaven. And this heaven that is speaking about is basically Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked, you know, so he's reigning over all these nations. He's the king of the earth right now. All right. But nevertheless, how is a king? You know, you the king, you super rich, and I'm just a peasant. You know, I'm a beggar out in the streets. How come, you know, I'm on the street corner with my little sign begging, and you the king, and you right here beside me with your sign begging? You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to be on top. You're supposed to be having people bring tribute unto you, man, day in and day out. But no, you over here begging with me, man. How does this happen? You know? So let me read this again, verse 11. Isaiah 14:11. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave. The noise of thy vows, the worm is spread under thee, and the worm covereth thee. You know, dealing with, let me think of an analogy to deal with this. Like, right, so you have like let's say a wooden house. And now it's getting, it's not infected, but infested with termites. And termites is slowly but surely eating at the foundation of that house, all the wood structure, whatever, whatnot, slowly but surely weakening the whole foundation and the structure of the building, you know? And ultimately it's going to wind up collapsing, all right? But nevertheless, this is what's going on with these Edomites, you know? We can talk about the ones here in America, but really globally, man. Everything is collapsing on them, man. Everybody's starting to see them for who they truly are, all right? Their economics is falling, all right? Really, you know, these Edomites are losing their blessing with the sword, more or less to say, because you have Russia now that has, you know, the more superior weapons than America, all right? And we know that Russia and America, they both Edomites, you know, these Americans and these Russians, they both Edomites. But however, according to the scriptures and the prophecies, you know, Russia's with the conglomeration of these other nations is going to actually be used to take out America, you know, even the EU. But ultimately, the Lord is going to destroy them as well, too, because in all be all, they all Edomites. Let me go to the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 12, start at verse 4, or verse 3. In the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, all right, and the grinders cease because they are few, and they that look out the window be darkened, and the doors be shut in the streets. When the sound of the grinding is low, he shall rise up early at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. All right, and this is the time that we in right now, where you have, again, a lot of these, not to say they're Rothschild type elites, but these people that's a so-called financial analyst or expert or whatever, whatnot, they panicking, talking about taking their money up out of these systems or whatever, whatnot, telling you, hey, this is the end-all, be-all, man. A lot of these proud-ass Edomites in all, whatever sector they in, whether it's the military, now they like, oh, shit, these people actually got some shit on us, you know? Like I said, economically or socially, morally, all these different things, but nevertheless, dealing with the financial situation, all right, you see what's going on, like we read an article about over in Britain, how, you know, their life expectancy rate is flatlining over there, all right? And they're trying to blame this on so-called austerity measures, you know, them basically going broke over there, all right? Let me go from there to the book of Job 27 and verse 14, all right? It says, if his children be multiplied, it is for the sword, and his offspring shall not be satisfied with bread. All right. So like the article was saying, you know, their life expectancy rate is falling off, you know, and then we really go into a lot of these reports, you know, that's just one small thing. These Edomites are really dropping like flies, you know, with suicides. This is another word, I forgot what it's called, but they don't render it as suicide, but technically it is. Like if you happen to drink yourself to death, all right, or overdose on like some cocaine or some shit like that, they don't call that a suicide, all right? It's like, oh, it was drug related, whatever, whatnot. We ain't got to investigate it, keep it moving, you know? But nevertheless, this is what's going on. Hey, you see the curses falling down on them, dealing with the drug war, right? Or the war on drugs. Now the opioids is overtaking them and it's destroying a lot of their children off, you know? But nevertheless, now that these curses are falling upon Esau, Edom, dealing with the economics, just like how we was in a stuck between a rock and a hard place, you know? No real money, no whatever, you know, like after slavery, they ain't give us no money. But guess what? We wound up coming up after that, man. All right, then, you know, they wound up taking everything back away from us again, man, and making us start right back over from zero. You know, a prime example of that is 1921 in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I believe. What the hell was it called? The Black Wall Street, you know, and there was, I believe, damn near, there was many other cities just like that where you had a bunch of so-called black millionaires, black business owners, and so on and so forth. You know, this is 1921, all right, where we had all these things, but yet and still they wound up taking it all away from us. Then again with Martin Luther King with the so-called integration and things like that, you know. When we integrated, we used to have black bus lines and black banks and so on and so forth. When we integrated, all right, we decided we wanted to ride the bus with white people. But guess what? We wanted to ride the bus line that was owned by the so-called white man, all right? We wound up selling and shutting down our own busing companies, and now we don't really have anything, all right? But nevertheless, let me read this one more time. This is Job 27 and 14. If his children be multiplied, it is for the sword, and his offspring shall not be satisfied with bread. All right. So first of all, if they do have children, because again, their how you say their reproductive rate is really it's like either like at a 2 or 1. It's really, really low to where it basically you got to have more than this to even have to flatline your population. All right. So let's just say hypothetically, you got 100 people. And we all know throughout time, people going to just die of old age or whatever, whatnot, right? So we have to keep having these people replenish themselves so that they can keep having 100 people on deck, all right? But nevertheless, once you get down to a point where there's only one person left, you ain't gonna ever get back up to that 100 people because you got to procreate, you know, and one person can't have a child by themselves. If you just down to one woman, she can't get herself pregnant. If you down to just one man, he can't get himself pregnant, man. Or, you know, yeah, he can't get himself pregnant. But nevertheless, this is pretty much where, you know, the situation that we in with these Edomites, man. It's the end all be all for them. The Most High is bringing down this here judgment, man. Ultimately, they're gonna all, you know, if they're not affected by this right now, ultimately the Most High got something for them. Ultimately, ending off in those thermonuclear missiles, man. All right. Hey, and if you happen to be an elite and you survive all of that, there's a nice pair of chains for your ass that's gonna go right around your neck as you be the first fruits going into slavery. All right. But nevertheless, right now we're living in a time now where, you know, these Edomites now that are having children, all these children are basically guaranteed to be born just to be put to death, man. We're so close to the end right now that you can see the troops being formed out there in the valley of YAHAWASHI. All right. So as we read in here, it says, if his children be multiplied, it is for the sword. All right. So sometimes it's way better not for you to even be having no children. But every time you see these Edomite babies being born, there go another one that was made for the sword. There go another one that's going to, find his demise real soon here. All right. Wait, let me go back. Was there anything less? So, like, give me 1 second. Okay. Let me go to let me read this one more time because I got another precept. Job 27:14. If his children be multiplied, it is for the sword, and his offspring shall not be satisfied with bread. So now let's go over to the book of Isaiah chapter 14. And verse 21. All right. So it says, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquities of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land nor fill the world with cities. And ultimately this is what's going to happen to these damn Edomites. They're going to be destroyed in thermonuclear missiles over here, or something, before that, or they're going to wind up being, delivered through the thermonuclear missiles just to be the first fruits into slavery. All right. But nevertheless, verse 2 is the point where I want to grab. For I will rise up against them, saith Yahawah of hosts, and cut off Babylon, the name, the remnant, the son, and the nephew, saith Yahawah. All right, so we can go back into this dealing with World War III and how they're gonna all be left out there in the sands of time to be buried up under all of that, But nevertheless, dealing with this here situation, the Most High is slowly but surely cutting off the lineage of these Edomites, man. All right. This is Jeremiah 18, starting at verse 20. Shall evil be recompensed for good? All right, so if you do something bad, you got a little bad kid, a little child. You come home, your kid didn't put bubble gum all in her hair and took the crayons and drew all over the white walls or whatever, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, man, because you do bad, you think I'm going to come home and, good job, son. Good picture on the wall, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, whatnot. No, you're not going to say that. You're going to wind up disciplining your child. It says, surely shall evil be recompensed for good, for they have digged a pit for my soul. Remember that I stood before thee to speak good for them, and to turn away thy wrath from them. Therefore, deliver up the children to famine, to pour their blood by force of the sword, and let their wives be bereaved of their children, and be widows, and let their men be put to death, let her young men be slain by the sword in the battle. And ultimately, like we read, these curses are going to fall, because this was talking about Jake. But these curses are falling on Esau, Edom, and that's what you're starting to see. You can look at the death by despair, mortality rate of white Americans on a decline, life expectancy rate. You know what I'm saying? And all these different things are all on declines. Their so-called livelihood is on a swift decline. All right. Let me go to. I think I grabbed that already. That's not the one I wanted. I think it's in Isaiah. That worm. Slovakia. Give me 1 second. Oh, matter of fact, I read this already. Yeah, I believe. If not, we're gonna cover it again. Isaiah 14:11. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave. Thy noise of thy vows, the worm is spread under thee. The worm covereth thee. All right. So this is the state of these Edomites, man. They starting to decay, and the wisdom is being taken up out of their minds. You know what I'm saying? They starting to just look like, like the original Edomites. The basis of men. Nevertheless, this is the thing. These are the curses falling upon Esau, Edom. He's being caught in his own snare, man. All right, he's the financial wizard of all these things, but how come his people are the ones that suffering as well too, man? All right, you would think if he set up the system, his people would be all right, but now the Most High is taking control of the car, man. All right, now he's steering things the way he wants them to go, man. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying unto the elect. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahawah, Bahashim YAHAWASHI, Bahashim Rakakbadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation, much love for you. I can push in truth and sincerity in the four corners of the earth, and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.